Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
You can warp text in a text layer in Photoshop Elements to apply a general shape to all the text. For example, you can apply the arc shape to a text layer to make the text arc like a rainbow. You cannot warp text that has faux bold formatting applied, nor can you warp bitmap fonts, nor any font that doesn't include outline data. As shown in an earlier lesson titled Creating Point Text, you can warp text in Photoshop Elements by applying a warp preset to the text when creating the text in the text editing mode when using any of the selected type tools or type mask tools in Photoshop. You can also apply a warp preset to warp text in the text editing mode that appears if editing type layer text created using the horizontal type tool or vertical type tool in Photoshop Elements, as shown in the lesson titled Selecting Text. Alternatively, you can warp text in Photoshop Elements within either a selected type layer or within a selection in a normal raster layer that contains editable pixels after you apply a filler stroke using the type mask tools. Technically, you can warp any visible pixels selected in a raster layer or layer mask. However, note that applying a warp moves the pixel content, which may produce an unwanted lack of pixel data in the location those pixels previously occupied in the raster layer, depending on the surrounding pixel content in the layer. To warp text in a type layer in Photoshop Elements, first select the type layer to warp in the Layers panel. Alternatively, to warp raster text created after stroking or filling a type mask selection instead, ensure the text selection appears on screen and has visible pixels to warp within a selected raster layer in the Layers panel. However, note you can select any pixels to warp in a selected raster layer or layer mask if desired. To apply a warp to the selected content in Photoshop Elements, select Image, Transform, Warp from the menu bar. To apply a preset warp transform, select a warp preset from the Warp dropdown in the Tool Options bar. The settings for the warp preset then appear to the right in the Tool Options bar. To change the warp preset's orientation, click the Change the Warp Orientation button to the right of the Warp dropdown to toggle the orientation each time you click it. To change the bend percentage of the selected warp preset, enter a percentage value between -100 and 100 into the Bend field in the Tool Options bar. To change the warp preset's horizontal distortion percentage, enter a percentage value between -100 and 100 into the horizontal field in the Tool Options bar. To change the warp preset's vertical distortion percentage, enter a percentage value between -100 and 100 into the vertical field in the Tool Options bar. If needed, to switch the option shown in the Tool Options bar between the Warp mode and the Free Transform mode, click the Switch between Free Transform and Warp modes button in the Tool Options bar. You can click this same button when viewing the Free Transform options to view the Warp mode options again if needed. To apply a warp transform in Photoshop Elements after changing its settings, click the Commit button that appears in the lower right corner of the selected content in the preview image. To cancel the transform instead, click the adjacent Cancel button.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.